That was a new Black Panther group protesting in front of a Texas jail a few weeks back. Just one of the angry and incendiary chants we have seen against police in recent months. We've heard from folks like the two law enforcement officers you just saw, but so far haven't heard much from Washington. However, take a walk back with me to 2011, when a shooting in Tucson led to an angry chorus complaining about what they said was angry Tea Party rhetoric.
As Chuck Schumer was saying, in politics, in the media, in the public square, fashion our rhetoric so that it does not incite but informs.
It may be constitutionally permissible, but it shouldn't be acceptable rhetoric. We shouldn't invite it on the radio talk shows or the TV, at least without comment. We ought to say that just goes too far.
The discourse in America, the discourse in Congress in particular, to answer your question very specifically, has really changed. And I'll tell you, I hesitate to place blame, but I have noticed it take a very precipitous turn towards edginess and a lack of civility with the growth of the Tea Party movement.
I think all of us need to say that our rhetoric we need to check. None of us should become so defensive that we say we're not going to change. We all need to see if there is change required, change needed, and all realize that there are some very unbalanced people here in this country that anything can trigger.
Joining me now, Richard Fowler, nationally syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor, and townhall.com editor, Katie Pavlich. Good to see you both. Wow. So, I mean, I went out to see, Katie, whether Debbie Wasserman Schultz was out denouncing the rhetoric that we are now hearing, you know, the lack of civility that she was complaining about with the Black Lives Matter movement. And this is what I found her saying about that movement. Stand by.
I'm proud of the young people who have been pushing that Black Lives Matter movement. We've brought the Confederate flag down. We've made sure that symbols of hate are unacceptable in America.
Your thoughts?
Well, if Debbie Wasserman Schultz were really concerned about symbols of hate, she would be denouncing the Black Lives Matter movement. This is a movement that promotes the execution of police officers. This is a movement that glorifies Assata Shakur, who of course is a notorious cop killer who is now in Cuba as a fugitive. They wear T-shirts at their rallies that say Assata taught me. This is a movement that is easily condemnable, and Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz and quite frankly President Obama stand on the sidelines and refuse to do it while they're in Minnesota, in New York City, in Ferguson, chanting, you know, pigs in a blanket, frying like bacon. I mean, this is a movement that promotes the execution of police officers, and not only they are not condemning it, they're promoting it. You know, let's not forget
the DNC just came out with a resolution supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, which BLM rejected. But they're trying to tie themselves to the movement, the same movement that's chanting pigs in a blanket, frying like bacon, and these same people are denouncing not long ago the lack of civility in America. Meanwhile, you got people connected with this movie or with this movement putting up the sign of a roasted pig and Officer Darren Wilson's name on it.
One, Megan, I think that I don't think we're watching the same Black Lives Matter movement. I think if you talk to any of the organizers on the ground, both in Ferguson, in Baltimore, and New York, they will tell you they're a non-violent movement, that all they want to do is end the disparities.
Why were they chanting pigs in a blanket,
we've pointed out,
like bacon? That was the Black Lives Matter movement, Megan, in Minnesota. Why?
That is one small incident of the Black Lives Matter movement. The segment started with the Black Panther Party, which is not part of the Black Lives Matter movement at all.
How about that?
The Black Lives Matter movement is asking for accountability from police officers, and that's all they're asking for. And all we're hearing from is, why would I condemn?
Please stop. Just let me get the question out. Richard, you'll respond, and then Katie, you'll have a chance. Richard, the people on the left we just showed were very quick to blame violence that happened in the country on what they alleged were a couple of Tea Party comments that they found to be racist or incendiary. Why are they not as outraged now when, as you point out, okay, maybe it was just Minnesota, maybe it was just those new Black Panthers, maybe it's just that one roasted pig, but suddenly the actions of a few do not apply to the many. Why the double standard?
Well, first, the shooting that you were talking about in the video clip, there's actually evidence that indicates that this person he had Tea Party sentiments. He agreed with the Tea Party. In this case in Houston, or in Texas rather, there is no evidence, right? There's been no investigation. And from somebody, Megan, who's a lawyer, you would say, let's see the facts first. We don't know if this killer's been connected with the Black Lives Matter movement or not. Now, with that being said, the Black Lives Matter movement for the past year has petitioned and fought to make sure that black lives indeed do matter and they're not gunned down by police officers or choked to death in New York City like Eric Garner was.
I just want to make it clear and obvious that Richard Fowler refuses to condemn Black Lives Matter's protesters.
I won't. You sure? I will not condemn them. I will not condemn people who are saying that unarmed black men should be shot by police. I will not condemn anybody who's against that.
You refuse to condemn Black Lives Matter's protesters who want officers to be executed in their police vehicles. That is what you are promoting tonight.
There's no substantial evidence that supports.
We'll continue with Frank Luntz after the break.